Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel. Today the crypto market experiencing a green 24 hours. And for some of them, or for most of them, a green week. Last 7 days they've been in green. We will discuss through recent Twitter posts which really are interesting, which provide a lot of insights and information regarding our favorite cryptocurrency XRP, then news articles which give more information about the fundamentals of the coin, and then we will look at a news article related to Bitcoin, general crypto markets. Then we will look at extremely bullish signal from different analysts. Like the writers and analysts come up with a lot of good news. They try to showcase about, say, EOS, Ether, Bitcoin, and the general crypto markets, showing the adoption of blockchain by different big companies. Now, before discussing about the fundamentals, we will go into technicals. We will try to analyze different cryptocurrencies in different time frames using technical indicators. Say first we'll go check XRP, then BTC, Ether, EOS, and LTC. So we will cover all these. Prior to that, if you guys like the information I provide on a daily basis, please do support the channel by hitting that subscribe button and like button. Now we will directly jump into the technical analysis. This is XRP on a daily. As we can see that we have a bounce here. As we talked in our previous video, we were actually making a bottom here. Now we can see that we were approaching a support level, and we got a bounce from there, which is a positive news. Now still, when we look at the MACD, we can see that the price is actually trying to cross to the upside, which is a positive news. Now at the same time, what you have to see is the RSI is coming back into the normal range from the overbought area. So whenever the price is moving low and the RSI is in the oversold area, that's a good area to buy when looking at a daily or a weekly time frame, because as you go into the longer time frame, it validates the indicator, and if you are a long-term investor, then that would be best. So for short-term investors, we'll look at what's happening in a shorter time frame, say 1 hour. There's a 1 hour chart, and as we discussed yesterday, we were just getting a bounce from the 50-day moving average. That's a red line, and we also told that if we are able to go above the 200-day moving average, which is the yellow line, that would be a positive sign. Now we managed to do that, as well as we came back and tested the 20-day moving average and bounced from there. That's actually a positive news in shorter time frame. Now we zoom out a bit and look at the 4-hour time frame for the same XRP, and in this we can actually see that the 20-day moving average is going to cross 50-day moving average, and if that cross, say a good golden cross in 4 hours, that's actually a positive sign. And at the same time, what we have to see is the MACD is actually coming into the positive area. We can say this is a negative area and this is a positive area in MACD, in which both the trend lines are actually coming above that, and at the same time in the RSI, it's actually making a trend higher. So if you draw a line trying to showcase the general trend in RSI, you can see that it's moving upside. Now that's actually a 4-hour chart. So if you look at the same in a 12-hour chart, what you can recognize is that yes, the price is just bouncing up high, like it is making a rounded bottom. Even the RSI is making the rounded bottom. The 12-hour chart, you already got an upside cross in MACD, and the price is bouncing from that level. So now that is not completely like I'm stating the bull run has just started. It's going to be blowing up from here, but at this particular point we have a trend, right? It is moving more or less in a similar way. See, we have a resistance area at this particular point. See, now as the price is bouncing and manages to come above the moving averages, come within the moving average range, then yes, we will be having a lot of overhead resistance, because we traded in this area for a long period of time. So I'll just highlight, say this particular area we traded above there for a long time, right? So this area will act as a huge resistance. But as we all know, when we look at the log scale chart of XRP in a longer time frame, we also know that sometimes when the price get a bit of volume and bounce, it doesn't even consider the resistance zones, it just blow through it, right? So anything can happen at that particular area. But what we have to consider here is, like, in my perspective, say we actually had a long-term support line like this, and we was trading above that, getting support bounce most of the time when we were approaching that particular trend line. But in the month of July, we came below that, we retested that once, and from that time we were actually following this pattern, right? Now we are in a wedge, downward wedge, and unless this pattern is broken, we still have to consider that we will be within this. So in that, if you are not a long-term investor, if you are looking to trade the market on a shorter time frame, then you should be looking at us resistance here. Say most of the time that won't reach till 0.3, or sometime there will be a fake out around 0.3132. But as a shorter time frame investor, you should be looking to take your profit around 80% of this target, because most of the time that happens. Now if you look at BTC, what you can see is BTC in USD and analyze the same, you can see that from last 4-5 months we are actually following this particular trend, and at this moment we have a bounce from our support line. So we can actually look at an upward trend line of 9,500 or 9,400. But that's like 100% of this trading pattern. So if you actually are a short-term trader, you can actually aim at around 8,500 to 9,000. That will be a good area. Like, that's just my opinion based on the charts and technical indicators I use. Now here in a 12-hour chart for BTC, we can see that it already had an upside cross in the MACD, and the RSI is moving to the upside, similar to that of XRP. Now that's a general change in the crypto market, but for XRP we were actually looking for an upside cross coming in a couple of days in a daily chart. But for BTC we have that right now. We are getting across, and it will be confirmed once we close in green this day. So that's actually a really positive news, considering that the price was actually below the previous low. Like, we made a low, still we got bounced from this support area. Now we are aiming to reach the top of this channel. So in the same time, if you are getting support from technical indicators like this, this is all based on human psychology, right? If, say, most of them uses MACD and see an opportunity here to buy in like this, if they are buying in and they are getting the positions are being accumulated, then the price will bounce from there, right? So what we have to look at or be cautious about, will the price stop here and come back to below? Because if the price is still to trade in this range, it may trade like this. But if it is to break above and retest and move above, then you should be a buyer here, right? But in order to trade this market in a shorter time frame, you should always use your stop losses so that you won't get wrecked. Say if you are trading from here, like as we discussed, if you should have been a buyer at this particular point when the price was bouncing from there, keeping your stop loss somewhere here. But now it's still not late, right? Now that's my opinion. So if you are a buyer here, you can still put your stop losses below the lower low and aim for somewhere here. If I were to buy BTC today, I would be doing the same. Now zooming even a bit out and looking at BTC on a daily time frame, we can see that the 200-day moving average is acting as a support now. We are above the 200-day moving average, and yes, it is also necessary to note that the price is bouncing from the 50-day moving average and 100-day moving average, but at the same time the 50-day moving average is going to cross the 100-day moving average to the upside. That's a positive news. Like, we can consider that as a new golden cross. But the golden crosses are too much, so the price doesn't actually reflect that. Say we got this here, and the price was actually moving up high. But as an XRP community member, we usually get a lot of golden cross, but the price never reflects that. But yeah, one day that'll happen for XRP. Now, we got a bounce and a long wick in weekly chart for BTC, and then now we are going in green. That's actually a really good news, and it shows like a reversal. But what you have to keep in mind is most of the time, say the price is coming down, the price is in a downtrend, you get a bounce up, then slowly you come back down till the support level. So the same can actually repeat again like this. Now we'll actually look at Ethereum in USD. We will analyze Ethereum, and as we can see in the weekly, we actually got a bounce last time. Say the price tried to go below that, but it didn't manage to close in that area. It came back up. Now it's showing a bit of green. But after these three candle, which showed significant volume to the downside, there can be a green week, right? And after that, the price can show you a continuation pattern to the bottom. So you have to be prepared for everything, to the positive side or whether it is a negative case. Now this is the daily chart of Ether, and as you can see that currently the price is at the resistance level. I don't have to draw a line here because it's self-explanatory. Right now the price is this green line, and as you can see that previously I was at support and right now it's a resistance. So if we manage to come above that, we will be having a lot of overhead resistance in the moving average. Like the 20-day, 50, 100 and 200 will be acting as a resistance here because all the moving averages are above the current price. But at the same time, similar to that of XRP, MACD is gonna cross to the upside in coming couple of days. So that is a good news. So if you consider all previous crosses to the upside after a correction, I repeat, after a correction, you can compare say what the MACD was showing you, what the RSI was showing you. So that's actually a good pattern. But if you're a short-term trader, you should actually go into shorter time frame charts and look what the price is doing and what the technical indicators are showing you. Like for me, I see higher lows. That's a positive sign, but the trend is kind of getting exhausted here. As you can see, this is a rising wedge, and most of the time it comes below, like the pattern breaks to the downside. So at the same time, if we try to connect the RSI, it's not that positive. And similarly, the MACD is also not showing the same as price does. So that's actually a divergence there. Thus, I believe if there is no much volume coming up again, the price can come down. So that's a negative area. So if you are trading this market, do keep your stop loss somewhere here if you're a short-term trader. Now we look at Ethereum on a 4-hour chart, and we can confirm that it is still happening in a positive way, right? The 20-day moving average is crossing the 50-day moving average. The price is above that. The candle tried to come below that, but it wicked up there and it's getting support and moving up high. So if you're not a short-term trader, you should be looking at the longer time frame charts. So that you won't misunderstand, right? So in the longer time frame, I'm really bullish on Ethereum. Say for next 3 to 6 months or a year, that's gonna be huge in price because we already came through a lot of bearishness. We reached the bottom, we bounced up high, right? Now this is EOS on a 12-hour time frame. We can see that the MACD has crossed to the upside. The price is above the 20-day moving average, which is bullish, right? So we'll just see what's gonna happen next. Yeah, no one can predict that. I completely agree with that. But what I want to compare and explain to you guys is, say we compared to Ether just now, right? So in that we were getting higher lows. That's a positive news, and showing similar pattern. But the difference is here the trend is not getting exhausted right now, and the MACD is not showing that much divergence. See, the MACD is actually moving to the higher highs, right? So that's actually positive news. It is the MACD is reflecting with the price. Even if you look at the RSI, it's also reflecting with the price. So that's actually a good news, and the price still has a chance to move further high. So for EOS, that's better news. Now that's really short term. Say I went into an hourly chart, and compared the technical indicators. So if you are to look at the longer time frame chart, you are still getting that the price is above the 50-day moving average. It's a good news, but it still has overhead resistance by 100-day and 200-day moving average. Now looking at the longer time frame for EOS, we can see that the price is just trying to get above the resistance, previously support, now turned to resistance, but the price is going to make a positive cross in the MACD. That's actually a good news for EOS. Now, even if it does, still it has to manage, say, to move above the moving averages here, or get into the moving average zone and slowly bounce above. And if it does, that's a really positive sign. So if you are a positive guy for EOS and looking to buy in, you should be considering the daily MACD, and at the same time you should be looking at the weekly MACD, which is kind of getting across right now. So if the price is bouncing a bit, reaching the 20-day moving average, then you will be getting across here in MACD. And at the same time, what you have to look at is the RSI is reversing. So if we get a MACD cross here, like we tried once and then twice we went above that, so that's a positive news. So with that, we'll just jump into the Twitter updates. This one is actually showing a cool thing. This one looks a visualization of XRP transfers. Now if you look at that, you can see multiple corridors which uses XRP to convert fiat to fiat. Like it's showing you dollar, rupees, Chinese yuan, multiple other currencies, South Korean won, Indian rupees, euro, USD. So that's actually positive news with all those. Now this is a tweet from Talrata at Talrata. Wow, this is a good news, right? So KPMG advisory board is actually showing the liquidity management exclusion will be expanded to permit banking entities to use broader range of financial instruments to manage liquidity. Now that's the key, right? Manage liquidity, because we all know, and in this channel we have talked a couple of times or more than that about managing liquidity. Countries are facing issues with liquidity, right? So the tool which they have right now, with regulatory clarity a bit, say in Europe they have that, in US they are coming up with that. Now, yeah, we cannot say that they already have it, but they need more clarity, right? Say if countries like India is kind of having a negative attitude towards digital assets at the moment, but once the crisis starts, the liquidity crisis starts, they don't have any other option. When companies are looking at this, governments will have to, because everything is based on money. So there is no other thing. Now I don't know the legitimacy of this particular article, but I think if it is reality, that's really positive news. Say Warren Buffett is looking at cryptocurrencies, changing his previous opinion. That is huge, but I don't know how much truth is there in this particular article. Anyway, I'll link all these updates in my description, so if you guys want to read through that, you can. Now this is another one from Hodl at Hodl Style. XRP bottom is in. It's not going to 0.15 or 0.0, definitely not to 0.06. Dropping below 0.2 would contradict all the progress company Ripple has made in the last 2 years, because last 2 years was really huge. As you can see that it's David Schwartz and Christine Lagarde, all the others along with the bankers coming in to Ripple's ILP, Interledger protocol, because you know, when we look at a lot of different blockchain projects, they need someone to bridge them between in a less friction manner, in a cheap manner. You don't want to spend a lot to do that, right? So that's why Interledger protocol is that huge for XRP. It's a game changer. Now this one is from Roses on the Moon at Roses on the Moon. She showcases. Now I'm showing you guys this because I also have a similar opinion. I was bullish on crypto 3 years ago. I was bullish during 2017 pump. I was bullish during 2018 dump. I'm bullish today and I will be bullish tomorrow. So that's the motivation to be a holder, to stay away from FUD, or if FUD is coming to you, you can actually shake it out. Just research about the actual thing going behind that, understand the fundamental, then look at the technicals and say, this is gonna pass, the bearish or the market cycle. If you understand that there's always a bearish scenario and a positive scenario, that's a bullish scenario, you will have a consolidation in between, right? So the guys who are buying at the bottom will sell at the top, say distribution, or the guys who come in to sell at the top will come at the bottom and buy it, say accumulation, right? Now this one is from Julia Chatterley. Over the last 3 years, the biggest commercial bank in Thailand has spent 1 billion on modernization of the bank. Right now 96% of the transactions are digitized, says SCB Thailand. Wow. See, if a bank like that, gigantic for a country, is having 96% of their transaction digitized. Now we already know that with whom the company is working, right? Below that, Bank XRP just showcased that SCB invests in blockchain technology leader Ripple in 2016, and in 2019, 96% of their transactions are digitized. So we have to think is, I don't think not many banks will be left out. They will actually come in once that we are nearing the tipping point, and that will happen soon. It won't take much, in my opinion. Now this is from Naveen Gupta, and an article showcasing about Naveen Gupta from XRP Steward. I think lots of time people hype it to say, hey, can digital currencies tomorrow replace the US dollar, or is it going to happen tomorrow? But this guy is actually stating that fiat is not actually going to go away, right? Each government, each banks are going to stay there, unless there is something, which is so contradictory to the status quo happens. People riot and, burn the banks, central banks everywhere in the world. Yeah, somewhere it's happening now, but not everywhere. In the Western countries or the developed nations, the fiat actually works well, right? If you want to buy a coffee, you don't actually need a cryptocurrencies to take 10 minutes so that your coffee is cold enough after the confirmation of the payment, right? So for that aspect, he actually says still you need a bridge currency if you are doing a transaction, if you want to settle a payment. Now this is from Bank XRP, showing that new bill in Germany will enable banks to support the sale and custody of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in 2020. Now we are at the end of 2019 and 2020 is not that far, right? So that's actually a positive news. Now there is no much time left to near the tipping point or just jump from the tipping point. Now there's an article showing that Ripple's ODL dramatically reduces our operational cost, saying Moneygram's CGO. Now when a real company come out and state something like this, say what their competitors will be thinking like. If they can provide fast and cheap service to their clients, obviously, right, we are all human beings, we'll be attracted to that, we'll move away from their competitors. Say if I, as an educated guy, would like to do a transaction to my home country, say India, I will first look at the websites of, say, available services. So from here, if I'm using, say, Western Union or MoneyGram, I'll actually open up their site and check, say I'm sending $1,000 to my home country, how much I will get at my home country and what's the cost, right? So I'm currently using a Ripple partner, SendB, which does the same and just below $2.5. So that's great for me. Now this is another one saying that short-term gains can be here. Looking at the charts. Now there's a tweet showcasing from Bitcoin Jack. As we already discussed through the chart analysis, we can understand what they are saying, right? The short-term upside is still present for XRP and obviously for BTC as well. Now this is a critique trying to showcase that XRP won't ever be utilized by banks. Now, I personally don't understand the entire thing, but I wanted to share this with you guys because there's completely contradictory. If it's only me getting confused, then yeah, please you guys can clarify that in the comment section below. See, he himself states that yeah, there are banks which is using XRP. Say here he shows that around 20 banks have been utilizing XRapid. Financial institutions like Mercury FX, SBI Holdings, Transfer, Paygo, others are using that. Nonetheless, blah 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 blah. Then he says that Basel III happened on account of monetary disaster based on the last recession, and continues with that. But his title is that XRP won't ever be utilized by banks, and in the same article he states that it is currently being used by banks. So I'm a bit confused about that. Anyway, we'll look at the next one. It's showing a bounce from the trading range channel, and if we are managing to close above that, that's a really positive news for that currency. Now Ripple strengthening its position world's leading remittance market. As we know that they are into almost every market which actually has a lot of remittance. Now that's their end goal, right? They are directed towards that. From the beginning they have only one aim: to change the payments or remittance industry, right? And at the end they will use on-demand liquidity. They will change the name to on-demand liquidity, but still the idea is XRP, right? You can see the price is in a positive range with all the positive news, but I'm not sure how much time it will hold in that particular area. Now this is actually related to Bitcoin, showing price hits tipping point above 7.6. Now yeah, the price actually went above that. In if we look at Coin Paprika and check current price, we can see that it's around 7,072, which is near 7,800, right? So that's actually a positive news there. Now we will actually look at the next one, which shows Canada's digital asset firm Prospectus Bitcoin Fund. Now they are actually looking at a Bitcoin fund IPO, right? So when digital asset firms in different countries are coming up with products like this, you know, giant players or the key players who have millions of dollars will actually look at this. They may not actually put, say, even 20% of 10% of their wealth, but yeah, there is a possibility that they can try putting in 1 or 2% of their wealth inside, right? So that's actually a positive news. Now this one is showing Bitcoin flashing extremely bullish signals, says analyst. Now as we looked at the chart, we also agree with the same, right? Bitcoin is showing that positive trajectory, so the price can actually bounce from here. It's showing a bullish flag, and if the price is continuing that pattern, is going to show you higher highs. Now that's actually a clear news for that. Now this one is for Ethereum $1 trillion asset manager Fidelity test Ethereum based token. Now that's actually huge for Ethereum group, Ethereum community, and the general crypto community, because when the real projects are being adopted by real companies, that's positive attitude towards the blockchain and crypto industry. Now this one is showing that EOS as a block 1 joins EOS elections as one entity, control 6 block producers. Now there is a lot of news related to, you know, all the cryptocurrencies are showing different perspectives. Say if this one is showing Yahoo Finance brings Bitcoin, Ethereum and XRP and extensive crypto data to 70 million users. Now that's Yahoo, right? Yeah, maybe they don't have that name like they used to have in the previous era, but still that name is quite famous. So if they are showing that the most popular financial website in the US, Yahoo Finance, is bringing cryptocurrency data now, and the crypto price tracker CoinMarketCap is now powering Yahoo's cryptocurrency market data section. Now that's actually positive news. See, companies are actually looking into cryptocurrencies. They are coming up with newer products for cryptocurrency and blockchain industry. Now that's actually a positive news, right? We all thought that this won't happen anytime soon, but yes, it is slowly happening. Bitcoin surges to its 8,000 as bulls build momentum. Now, as we checked in the chart, we understand that there is potential divergence there. Still, as the analysis showcases that the price can move up high, but in the shorter time frame, I would say you should consider what we discussed in our chart analysis about that bearish divergence. So otherwise that would be difficult to trade in a shorter time frame. The price can go either way. This one shows another adoption of a cryptocurrency or the blockchain technology. Network giant Cisco has won a patent detailing how it could leverage blockchain to secure the data in 5G telecommunication, because you know the countries like South Korea and all are still high on 5G. They're using that, right? And the other emerging countries are trying to come up with their own technology for this. Now, if they are using blockchain technology to secure their data, that's actually huge. Now again, I will say there's a new channel for the crypto community. Mainly I'm a XRP community member, and I would like to tell or ask you guys kindly, if you guys like the content, please do support the channel by hitting the subscribe and like button. I'll come up with more good news the next day morning. I'll see you guys there.